Hello and welcome, wonderful denizens of the night. Um, my name is Brandon, and I am going to be your storyteller. Tonight, we are telling a story of horror and of memories, realization, redemption, all of the above. A story in which we are joined by a group of four vampires, or rather, kindred, as they would like to more politely be called in these modern nights. These four kindred have recently been awoken from a very deep slumber. For nearly a century, they were aware of things around them, but in a forced state of sleep. Unbeknownst to them why, they were woken abruptly and have since started to regain their bearings as well as satiated some of the unending immortal hunger that comes with being a kindred. So without further ado, let us introduce our cast. Lady Catherine, could you go first?
Hi, my name is Allie, and I am playing Lady Catherine Montague.
Alice?
My name is Paige, and I will be playing Alice Mockingdale.
Dr. Banerjee? You are muted, Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy, and I'll be playing Dr. Henry Banerjee.
And Tony.
And I'm Emma, and I'll be playing Tony Costello.
And with that being said and introductions being complete, I would like to go ahead and give a quick disclaimer, of which we will be showing a graphic soon. This story is intended for mature audiences as it deals with very horror-driven themes. If you are queasy and uncomfortable with the types of themes that would come with being a vampire in the modern nights, please pay heed. All right. Perfect. Let us tell a vampire story, kindred. Tonight, our coterie has been ever so rudely awakened from their slumber, regaining memories ever so slowly as a man, well, a kindred man, named Adelino da Silva has instructed them that they were awakened ahead of schedule. Our coterie is known through the Mithraic mysteries as the Heralds of the Sun. And they have quickly found this out after a short feeding from another kindred man. A man that looks to be of Middle Eastern descent with a warm, light-colored complexion, black hair, hazel-colored eyes, and a slender build, who believes that dressing well is very important. De Silva guided our coterie through a warehouse that housed many old artifacts from periods of the Roman empires in Europe to this dark-skinned kindred named Darius Shirazi. And as the coterie arrives in Mr. Shirazi's office, he is with one other man who they have been told's name is Mickey Wheeler. Mickey is a little bit unkempt compared to Darius. Blonde, shoulder-length hair that's very messy. Very roughly thrown together outfit of a t-shirt with a graphic of some looks like weapons, maybe some type of pistol crossed over each other that says the Sex Pistols on top of it, and a pair of denim blue jeans with a jacket, denim jacket over on it. And as the coterie enters this office, they notice a rectangular room. On one end sits a mahogany desk with a plush chocolate leather chair behind it, in which Shirazi sits. Mickey standing to the side of the desk, looking annoyed, maybe impatient, as the coterie enters. There's also a dark leather couch against the far wall, and on the other long side of the rectangular room is rows upon rows, or columns upon columns of windows. This particular office is on the second floor of the warehouse that the coterie has found themselves waking up in, and the windows start about head high. And as soon as Mr. Shirazi sees the coterie enter with Mr. De Silva, he immediately jumps up out of his chair, enthused at the look of all of you and your new outfits that you've chosen. So, briefly, I would like for the coterie to describe the outfits that they chose, so that the audience can kind of have an idea of what your character looks like. And I'm going to start with Tony this time.
Yes, so Tony is wearing basically this black leather jacket, white t-shirt, blue jeans, black collar that he wasn't quite expecting to find there with white lines.
All right. And Dr. Banerjee, what type of outfit did you choose?
Dr. Banerjee just kind of got a kind of rather, it wasn't what he's used to, but he got a button-up shirt and a blazer and some dark pants and some nice, decent shoes. And again, not up to his standards. He will definitely be going and buying some more clothes because he likes to look fashionable.
And Alice?
In all the clothes they were presented with, Alice found herself a nice sundress, darker in color, maybe a little shorter than she'd like, but it's clothes and it wasn't the rags she started out in.
And finally, Lady Catherine.
Lady Catherine found the nicest feeling top and bottoms that she could find that looked somewhat acceptable, and kept on her necklace that she had awoken in.
And as Mr. De Silva, comes in behind the four of you, and you take a look around the room, Darius jumps up out of his chair, like I mentioned, in a very excited manner. My, you are all so much more than I expected. Yes, introductions, they are needed. And he moves out from behind the desk and hurriedly rushes over to Lady Catherine first. Madam, my name is Darius Shirazi of Clan Malkavian, and he holds out his hand to you, Lady Catherine. It is more than a pleasure to meet you. How may I address you?
She'll put out her hand for him, similar to this fashion, so he can gently cradle it. Her waiting expectingly for him to kiss her hand, and once he does that, she will say, "You may call me Lady Catherine."
And he does so very, very readily, takes your hand gingerly and places it to his lips and kind of gives like a slight head bow as he kisses your hand and places it back down. It is my pleasure, Lady Catherine. And he moves over next to Alice. And you, ma'am, again, and he extends his hand. Darius Shirazi, I'm so elated to shepherd you into this new era. How may I address you?
You may call me Alice. Alice Mockingdale is my full name. And she is going to flick on Sense the Unseen before she takes his hand.
Okay. No need to make a roll. You can tell that he is not under the influence of any type of magics that you can tell. So, yeah.
Then she'll take his hand and give it a brief shake.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's very nice to meet you, Alice. And you, sir, as he next moves over to you, Dr. Banerjee, with an extended hand.
Henry Banerjee.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Banerjee. And he, do you extend your hand to him?
I do.
And he shakes your hand, and he just kind of gives you a nod. Yes, and finally, you, and he kind of looks at you for a second, Tony. Your very fair complexion, and says, "Sir, your name?"
Tony. And I just go for kind of big handshake.
And yeah, he fully you can tell that he is used to the business handshake because he does the exact same thing that you do. Well met, all of you. And he takes a couple of steps back. You can all see that De Silva is kind of moved a little bit over to the left of the door that you guys came into, and he's standing patiently with his hands kind of clasped together just below his navel. And Mickey, still standing over beside the mahogany desk, is still just has the most impatient look on his face, like, come on, hurry it up, that you can ever see. And so back again to Darius, it is, again, ever so wonderful to meet the four of you. Never in my life did I think that I would be so honored by meeting the Heralds of the Sun. Oh, the wonders. I have to say, and I'm a little bit flabbergasted, I apologize. I'm writing a biography of well, to put it quite frankly, our Lord and Savior Mithras, a book of all of his posterity and the Mithraic mysteries and all of our following. It will rival the likes of the Christian Bible and the Muslim Quran. I know it. I just know it. You all must have many questions. I'm sure it's been quite some time since you underwent the blooding ritual. Please, I would be happy to answer all that I can.
De Silva said that something happened that pushed the timetable up. What has happened that has pushed our timetable up?
Oh, yes. Well, there are a couple of things, and it's a very complicated situation. I'm sure Mr. De Silva here has given you a brief instruction on this. So the most concerning thing is that where your tombs were buried. A modern company, an enterprise, as we call them in the modern times, purchased the land above where you were interred, and they dug that earth up in order to build the foundation of a rather large scale building that they were planning on setting up. And he kind of like rings his fingers together as he searches for the proper word. They unearthed you at that point, as well as all of the treasures that you saw below in the warehouse floor. It is, I am, and he stops himself. I'm rather glad that I was as well connected to the museum as I was to be able to intercept you and have you delivered here.
Did no one think to make sure that the land that the Heralds of the Sun were being kept in was unpurchasable? Surely someone thought this through, and or am I to be led to believe that maybe things were not properly thought through like they should have been?
That is difficult for me to determine. I don't quite have the facts all together at this point, as I was in quite the rush to make sure that you were delivered here. In fact, it's only been 2 nights since your crypts were found. I feared that others would find you and you would not be properly reintroduced into the Knights. Perhaps with further research, I could answer those questions. I've only been and this, again, is due partially to my lack of tenure, just as Mr. De Silva. We have both only been part of the Mithraic Ministries for a lowly decade. I'm not 100% familiar with what went on before I joined.
Well, thank you for your promptness in intercepting us and making sure that we were brought to the proper place. Perhaps
he nods.
Lady Catherine could look into some of this once we're brought up to speed on the present time and date and what is going on in our society.
Absolutely, I can look into this. I need to know who else would have intercepted us.
Other interested parties, perhaps collectors of antiquities. They are strangely frequent these days, and in these modern times, technology has developed quite a ways since you last were awake. There have been many ways that both kind and kindred, kindred being what the preferred name for our kind is now. That's a relatively new term. But it might be possible that somebody would wish to purchase such old artifacts to learn from them, such as I do. But again, we are here now. I know not of any nefarious plots, if that is what you're asking, Lady Catherine.
Just had to be sure.
Of course, of course.
And how long has it been since you were last awake?
Well, by what I've been instructed by the Potter Thomas told me it's been around 80 years. You were all part of the blooding ritual sometime before 1940. And it is the year 2012 now.
Oh my.
Could you explain to us exactly what the blooding was?
Yes, of course I can. That it is one of my most studied topics. You were all part of a selection of kindred that were meant as a group of guardians to our Lord Mithras. A way for him to be protected should his holiness wane in any shape or form. So you were all, of course, you did all volunteer, if that is your question, Alice. This was not something that was done against your will. And you were all given vitae from our Lord in a shared communal ritual that bound you to him and each other.
And each other?
Yes, of course. It should make sense that those chosen to be guardians of Mithras would need to be agreeable with each other. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
It is a very different type of bond than what you might be accustomed to with, for instance, say someone's ghoul. It's nowhere near that type of strength, but it's more of a like I said, a way to make you more agreeable towards each other. For, of course, as you all know from your time prior to this, or, well, no, that wouldn't make any sense. You've lost your memories, of course. Yes, it is different from that of the typical blood bond of what you might expect a ghoul to have. You are not going to be unaware of yourself required to follow each other's commands as if you were enthralled.
I guess that's not something we can really help. I still don't fully understand why we were untorpored now. Surely just our being discovered isn't enough. You could have moved us and kept us in torpor until a later date.
And you see him kind of like bite down on his lip with one of his fangs. He doesn't draw blood or anything like that, but he seems kind of apprehensive. And from behind him, you hear the voice of Mickey. When are you going to tell him, Darius? Just they deserve to know. And he quickly quiets Mickey. Fine. Well, since it is important for your mission, you must know that there have been developments with our holiest of saviors, Mithras. And his face kind of turns to a very grave look, much opposite of his excited demeanor from before. Now, what I'm going to tell you is not the common belief in the court of London. So I'm telling this to you all in confidence as the Heralds of the Sun, that you will not go around spreading the truth and giving Mithras's enemies a reason to track him down. The common belief amongst the court of London, which is ruled by Queen Anne, is that Mithras was destroyed by one of the many bombs that were dropped on London during the Second World War. And you all know about the Second World War. That's about the time that you were put into torpor. But the true cult of Mithras knows a different tale. Those within the inner circle, like yourselves. A traitor from within the cult turned on Mithras. We are unsure of where he is, but he is not one kindred to be easily defeated. And it is and his excited meter comes back. It is the other, and the other remaining followers of the Mithraic Mysteries' belief that your prophesied return will, again, as the name is appropriate, you will be the heralds of Mithras' return, usher him back into London as the rightful ruler.
And how are we supposed to do that? I mean, you said it yourself, we've lost our memories. Is there a plan in place here at all? Or?
Yes, actually. Mickey, would you please? And Mickey just kind of rolls his eyes and picks up a letter, an envelope, off of the table. And if everybody wouldn't mind, please, can you roll me a wits and awareness check?
Three successes.
2 successes.
3 successes.
Okay. And Alice? 4. All right. We will come back to that momentarily. So Mickey comes over to you all and hands you, Dr. Banerjee, the envelope. And it looks to be on a newly made modern type of paper, similar to what you might be used to, but slightly different. But it is sealed in wax with the emblem of Pater Thomas, which you recognize. He was around whenever all of you were put into torpor. And once you open it up, break the seal, kind of pull the letter out and unfold it. You, I would assume that you would read it out loud to the group, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what the letter says is, my dear and loyal friends, I'm sure you have many questions, but for the time being, I ask you to be patient. The circumstances around your awakening are clearly unusual, and I give my deepest apologies for this. Much has changed in the time that you have been asleep, and I regret to inform you that, most tragically, our Lord and Master Mithras himself was destroyed some years ago. Ungrateful traitors from within his cult betrayed him to his enemies. The cult continues, however, devoted to his memory and his legacy. Your resting place was lost to us, buried as a result of damage caused to London by a great war between the nations of Europe. It's only through recent circumstance that you have been revealed again and rightfully returned to us. You wake on the cusp of a great storm that is about to envelop London in its fury. I and many others still loyal to our cause have already retired to other domains far from here to escape its wrath. However, one important task remains, which has been entrusted to you, our only remaining heralds of the sun. Artifacts of spiritual value to the Mithraic cult are still in London. They are kept by those who were once loyal to us, but who have now strayed from the path. Whether they were involved in the conspiracy to murder our Lord is unknown, but they are no longer to be trusted. And next, what you see is a kind of a bulleted list, and it gives 4 descriptions of items. The first is a clay seal, which was once used by our Lord to mark official documents, left in the possession of one Lady Anne Bosley. A silver ring inset with a ruby, believed to be in the possession of the Tremere Sri Sansa. A bronze dagger of Egyptian style, gifted to the Nosferatu Richard de Ward. And a Phrygian cap, once worn by our Lord in his original Mithraeum, since claimed by Gwenllian Furch Arwen.
Could you say the names of the kindred and the items they have again, please?
Yes. So you have a clay seal in possession of Lady Anne Bosley. A silver ring inset with a ruby, believed to be in the possession of the Tremere Sri Sansa. A bronze dagger of Egyptian style, gifted to the Nosferatu Richard de Ward. And a Phrygian cap that has been claimed by Gwenllian Furch Arwen. And the letter continues on. We humbly beseech you to seek these items out and retrieve them before the storm descends. Also, take with you the goblet that was used to wake you. Once you have completed your task, please call the number 0794 636 728. And we will send a team to extract you from London and guide you to safe haven. May good fortune and the blessings of our Lord and Master go with you. Signed, Thomas, Pater of the Sun, Guardian of the Temple. And after you've read this out loud, Dr. Banerjee, Darius is like kind of rubbing his hands together in, again, very excited fashion. Wow. This is wonderful news. Wonderful news indeed. The fact that you've all been given this task by Pater Thomas is, you should be honored, but I do not have to tell you that. I had not been briefed on the contents of of the letter itself or even the wider plan. So I must commit this all to memory. It, of course, must go in the biography. I am acquainted with the Potter, which is wonderful. He was who inducted me into the cult a decade ago. So he's a wonderful man. I do know that, as the letter states, many of Potter Thomas's followers have left London several months ago. When the Potter called for a few loyal souls to remain to awaken you, I was the first to volunteer. Such a holy quest given to me, I could not deny. Is there anything else that you all can divulge about this? Anything that you might know about these items, these holy relics?
I, for one, don't remember much about them. As has been said, our memories are not what they were before we went to sleep. But should we start remembering things, I don't see why we couldn't share with you a bit of information about them that we remember as we remember it.
And his eyes go very wide, and he nods. Yes, of course. And he kind of shifts his glasses a little bit. I would be extremely grateful if you would do such. If I could even inspect these relics. Oh, my word! The amount of detail I would be able to use in the biography, fantastic. That being said, with your memories lost, of course, I understand. You might be frustrated, confused. There are a modicum of emotions you might all be feeling. However, and he snaps his fingers, I know that one of them is not hunger, thanks to, well, the meals that you partook of. I would be also just as keen to examine this goblet De Silva brought with him, if it is okay with the four of you.
I don't see why not.
Perhaps we wait until we have all the artifacts and you do it all at once. These relics sound very important. And since you volunteered so graciously with a storm coming that you didn't know about, I don't see why we can't reward you for your loyalty to Mithras. After all, we continue to make his name prosper and be known.
And you kind of see, as he looks at you, his upper lip on the right hand side just kind of twitches a little bit when you deny his request. Of course, yes. I'm sure that there's much work to be done. We should not delay any further. Adelino, please, the goblet, bequeath it to one of them, as Potter Thomas has requested. And De Silva just kind of looks at the four of you in question as he takes the goblet out, unsure of who he should give it to.
Give it to Alice.
He casually walks over to you, Alice, and hands you the goblet. And again, it's, as I described to you guys before, it's a ceramic goblet that has the holy iconography of Mithras on it. Sorry, give me 1 second. A slayed bull on one side, with like a man driving a dagger into the back of its neck, and then on the other side it has a sun disk on it. It does radiate blood magic, as you found out with your previous checks.
Alice will take it in both hands and for now just hold it.
Okay. So, Darius speaks up again. Where to begin?
I suppose we should start by finding these kindred and attempting to procure these relics.
Yes, of course. And he walks over to the desk and rummages around in one of the drawers, the middle one, and he comes back to you, Dr. Banerjee, with a slick, glossy black card, and there's a phone number embossed on it. You may... I apologize. You all know what a telephone is, correct? I understand that's a strange question, but circumstances pending.
Yes, we just pick it up and talk to the operator, and she'll patch us through to you all.
Yes. Again, as I had said before, technology has advanced quite a bit since you've been asleep. Mickey, would you please bring the effects that I have procured for our guests here? And Mickey rummages around in one of the other desk drawers and comes over to you all and hands you all a... You're not sure. It is a square piece of electronic that you've never seen before. Back whenever you guys were awake, telephones were very simple. Rotary dialers were the common thing. This is like a small screen, like television, but it fits in your hand.
Is this a paperweight? What do I need with a paperweight?
No, actually, these are what are called cell phones. They are handheld telephones that... I'm not going to bore you with details. We would be here for quite some time. You may use that as you would a telephone. And he kind of points out to each and every one of you, how to unlock the screen, how to go in and make a phone call, and where to enter the phone number, and all those kinds of things. Just a simple, basic phone functions, even though you recognize, as he's showing you, that there's a lot of other stuff going on with this thing. And he also pulls out of his pants pocket a wad of cash and hands it to you. Whoever needs to have this, there's more than enough money in that bundle to get you started. And it's a rubber band bundle of 1,000 British pounds in 50s and 20s.
Tony, would you be so kind as to hold on to this?
And even before you finished asking, just take it, pocket.
Gotcha. All right. Perfect. So what you may do with this card that I've given you and the number that is on there with your cell phones is, if you call that phone number, you will be able to introduce yourselves to the Kindred Court of London. You may be able to schedule a meeting in Elysium with the court themselves. However, I do know that Queen Anne is due to be hosting a party very, very soon in central London, and anyone who's anyone is expected to be there. So that perhaps would be a good place to start.
Is this the same Anne who's in possession of the seal?
It is quite possible. It is... It's very strange for me to say this, but I'm unaware of her last name, her family name. we only know her as Queen Anne. Now, it's at this point during the conversation, and correct me if I'm wrong, nobody rolled below 2 successes for your wits and awareness, right? Okay. Perfect. So it's at this point where all of you, he's instructing you, talking to you, you catch something out of the corner of your eye, in the windows across the room from you. And it's, again, something that you're very unfamiliar with, but it looks like what may be a bird, but it has no wings. However, it's hovering in the window, and it's just, slowly making its way across the line of the windows. For out of character purposes, it's a drone.
As Banerjee sees this, he'll look. What is that thing? What type of bird is that?
And Mickey, actually all 3 of the kindred that were not paying any type of attention to it, look over immediately, and Mickey says, "Shit." And he looks to De Silva and nods, and they both rush out of the room rather quickly, leaving the 4 of you with Darius. And he says, this is a rather abrupt way to end our meeting. However, I believe that our meeting place has been compromised. I have no time to explain, and he rushes over to the desk and starts opening the drawers and rifling through them, and pulls out a briefcase and starts shoving stuff from the drawers into the briefcase.
Compromised by who?
There could be many parties that this is that are doing this, but the fact that we have been found out is not a good sign. I would sincerely suggest that we leave post haste. But first, I must gather all of my things here. I wouldn't want to leave behind any type of paraphernalia that could be incriminating, as the police would call it.
Less talk, more packing up.
And he's shoving things into this briefcase as he hasn't stopped, and he is obviously frantically doing so.
And Dr. Banerjee will look to his coterie, and he will motion for the door.
Does anyone possibly have a bag for me? I don't really think I should be carrying this out in the open if we've been compromised.
And Darius points to a door that's on the far end of the room. If you there should be storage accoutrements in that room, bags, other containers. You may take them as you please. There are also monitors on. God, it's so hard to do this without having to explain everything in thorough detail to you all. Please go into that room, and there are monitors, not unlike televisions that you have seen before. They are attached to cameras that provide a live feed to the grounds. They monitor the entire area. You may see what's going on outside from there, rather than having to go yourselves.
Banerjee will head the direction that he was instructed to go.
Yeah. Taki kind of shrugs and follows.
All right. And so does the entire coterie follow?
Yes.
Perfect. So of course inside, just like Darius had said, you do find a bag, Alice. It's kind of like a messenger bag you can just toss over your shoulder. What you find in this room is a wall, very much smaller room than you had before, but there's a wall with several TVs, kind of stacked and layered in rows, and each one of them has a different picture on them, and it is in it's in color, yeah. And beneath it are switches and knobs and a keyboard, something that looks like a typewriter but more compact and ergonomic. And this must have been what Darius was talking about, as you can see pictures on these screens outside, or at least of an outdoor area, as well as of a warehouse building. So whenever you go inside into the office, you actually can see movement on some of these screens. In fact, multiple of them. There seems to be a group of people approaching from what seems to be the rear of the building. It's what's facing out towards the river. There is another camera that's pointing like out towards the side of the building with a smaller view of the river itself. But there's also, you can see kind of in that frame a picture of a boat, and it looks like there are people frantically moving around on that boat, and it's hard to tell in detail just because of how grainy the picture is. But then there's also one that's on the fence of the front of the building that you can see several people, what you would say is sneaking along the fence line, moving towards you all, and what is obviously vehicles approaching from the road and stopping and creating kind of like a roadblock around the entrance.
I would suggest we post haste make it to this boat.
Great.
We gotta get out of here.
Yep.
Does anybody particularly care to try to take the time to try to identify these people that are approaching, or are we just saying get the fuck out?
We woke up in a strange new timeline. We don't remember much about who we are. Dr. Banerjee is going to suggest that we post haste, make it to the boat, and we'll figure things out later.
And after seeing the reaction of him in the office, just throwing everything in, Lady Catherine is not wanting any of this nonsense.
All right. So, from what you guys can see on the cameras, as well as what you would have noticed on your way to the office, there's two obvious exits from the building on the ground floor, the front and the rear, kind of like bay doors where you might expect, things to be loaded in and taken out of the warehouse. You know that there is a door that was marked fire exit on the opposite end of the hallway from where you guys came into Darius's office. You don't know where that leads. But those are the only three known exits. And they would all, for sure that taking the ones on the ground floor would put you like out in the open, and it would be very hard to avoid detection if you took those two.
Should we see where the door that we don't know where it leads to? Maybe it's a secret way out of here.
Sounds like a good plan.
I mean, they can't be complete buffoons.
We shall try it.
And we will head back toward the door that we have no idea where it goes.
Okay. So you exit the surveillance room back into Darius's office. He still seems to be, shoving things into his briefcase. And he says, as you all, walk towards the door, I'm almost done. You just...
There are people with vehicles blocking the road. There are people sneaking up behind the building. How do we get to the boat without being seen?
Oh, yes. There is a secret tunnel, an escape route built into the warehouse. I would be more than happy to show you where it's at. It's in the lavatories downstairs. I would be more than happy to accompany you and show you specifically how to open it. This is rather complex. If you could just give me a moment.
A little bit faster, please.
Okay. So do you all wait for him to finish, or are we taking the fire escape plan still?
We'll take the secret exit. Seems like the better plan to Dr. Banerjee.
All right. And with that, you actually, as you're waiting, start to hear the sounds of gunfire coming from outside of the building. It seems to be from where this roadblock was placed. You did see on the security cameras as well that this building does have its like private security. So one could only assume that the two forces have met at this point. You still have no idea where the other two kindred that were here have gone. But you do wait. And Darius is obviously very frantically shoving things in his briefcase. And after just a couple of minutes, and the firefight still going on outside, he buttons up the briefcase and says, "Yes, come, we must go. Our window is closing. I apologize." And he ushers you down into through this hallway and down the stairs and onto this ground floor, kind of like the showroom floor where all of these artifacts on shelves and things like that are. And as you start to, you all get off the stairs and you start heading towards where, following Shirazi, you hear from the opposite side of the warehouse as multiple flashlights shine through the darkness towards you all. "Freeze! Put your hands up! Don't move another step!" And I think that is an appropriate time for us to take a break. We'll be right back. So everybody please get up and get yourselves hydrated, take a restroom break, and then we will find out what fate awaits our coterie. Hello and welcome back, denizens of the night. So we come back to our story with our coterie being met with a warning. They have entered the first floor of the warehouse in which Darius Shirazi, the Malkavian, has been recanting the tale of their purpose, pretty much. Two flashlights shining very brightly at them, and the words, "Stop! Freeze! Put your hands up!" How do each of your characters react?
Dr. Banerjee, sensing the panic in our compatriot, is going to continue moving as long as he continues moving.
Okay. And what about Lady Catherine?
Lady Catherine is the exact same. She'll peep a glance that way, but is keeping up with Dr. Banerjee.
Okay. And Alice?
Alice is going to do the same, but she's going to take a look back to see if anything of note. She still has Sense the Unseen up. So if there's anything coming or is there already.
Okay. And Tony?
Yeah, just as soon as they start shouting, Tony is just bolting along with Darius.
All right. And so in the confusion, as all of you kind of, looked over to what's going on, you see, first of all, 5 men who look to be heavily armored, like in riot gear almost, all with what appear to be automatic weapons with underbarrel flashlights pointing at you. And I'm on him. As you look back to, panic in a panicked fashion, move back to, follow Darius, he is nowhere in sight. He is just vanished from where he was. And you all, he did tell you that it was the entrance to this secret tunnel was in the lavatories, where you awoke and, cleaned yourselves up before. So you all, with the intent to book it as fast as you fucking can, to get there to escape, do so, being familiar with the path. And as you do, the sound of gunfire echoes throughout the warehouse as a hail of bullets from these 5 armored men with guns pepper the entire area where you all are. So would everybody please roll me Dex plus Athletics?
Sure, because I'm good at this.
As you try to avoid the bullets.
When Alice looked at them, did she get anything from her sense the unseen? Like, were they mortal, kindred, or do I need to roll for that too?
For these particular soldiers, they have no type of magical aura or anything like that.
Okay.
They just look to be heavily armed humans.
I'm gonna activate Fleetness.
Okay, give me a rouse check.
And that's a bestial.
All right. So as per the the rules that we had set up, a bestial failure on a hunger check increases your hunger by 2 instead of 1.
Yeah.
So Tony, you call upon the power of your blood to increase your speed to supernatural heights, and the beast clawing in your mind. Come now, Antonia. You should have eaten more. That little snack was not enough. You should have listened to me. Just a little bit more, and I'm coming back, and I won't leave any. But you do, in fact, I believe Fleetness lets you add your celerity to your dice pool for Dex Athletics. So you move with inhuman alacrity. Anybody else activating any powers or anything like that?
Actually, I'll activate Silence of Death. There's no rouse check, so just become quiet.
Okay. And keep in mind that for Silence of Death to remain active, you do have to remain relatively quiet. So, you call upon the powers of your obfuscation, and your footfalls cease to make any type of sound. The rustling of your clothes is no more. It's almost as if there were a small bubble around you that cancels out any type of sound. All right. If nobody else is activating anything, what are your Dex and Athletics results?
I got 3 successes and a bestial failure.
Okay.
6 critical.
All right.
I have 3.
Catherine got 3. All right. Tony? You might be muted. I didn't hear you.
Didn't you say 2, Tony?
Oh, yeah. 2. Okay. Perfect. So, Tony, you just barely managed to keep yourself safe, with your superhuman speed. The rest of you are able to duck behind, cover of some of the artifacts or the boxes, shelves, things like that, as the bullets just pepper everything. Walls, a lot of the paper and boxes are destroyed. And this is something that all of your characters should probably be relatively surprised by. Whenever you were around, like, automatic weaponry was relatively new, right? And it wasn't something that like police forces would have access to. It was more military grade weaponry. So, your character should be appropriately concerned, terrified, whatever you feel is going to be good. But you do all manage to avoid the damage this round. That being said, you do know that there's quite a bit of distance between you and these 5 armed warriors. That it's not going to be quick for them to cover it if they do decide to pursue you. So, what does everybody want to do? You've all currently taken cover behind something to avoid the hail of bullets.
Alice is going to make a run for the door, like the door that leads to the tunnel.
Okay. Just booking it. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
what about Tony?
Yeah. Tony's just kind of crouched in cover, just practically growling, just need to get out of here. And then as soon as Alice starts moving, he's just up and after her.
Okay. And Lady Catherine?
Lady Catherine did not stop moving while taking a look at these men and avoiding those bullets. She is running.
Okay. And Dr. Banerjee?
Dr. Banerjee is kind of like, he gets up and he's moving, but he's not moving fast because he's trying to stay silent. And as soon as he thinks he's at a point where he can break line of sight where they see him, he's going to take off running.
All right. So Dr. Banerjee, just you, go ahead and make me a Dex and Stealth roll. Since you are trying to move as quietly as possible without being noticed.
Well, I'm good at that too. 2 successes.
All right. So the rest of the group again takes off running while Dr. Banerjee is trying to move quickly. And you hear something as one of the men shouts, "Flash out!" And you all hear the tinking of metal against concrete. And let's see here. Just read this real quick.
Really glad I didn't activate heightened senses now.
Yep. And I need everyone to roll a terror frenzy check as the metal tinking on the ground leads you to, as you dash, you kind of look over as they threw it where you're, in your path towards this door. And none of you are familiar with what the hell this is. And it explodes into a bright burning light. So terror frenzy is your unspent willpower plus 1/3 of your humanity rounded down. You cannot spend willpower to reroll.
5.
Three.
Okay.
3 as well.
Okay. 3 from Alice.
2.
And everybody, your beast is just terrified as the flashing light takes you all by surprise, and the immediate reaction is fire. There's a fire. Run, get out. All of you resist except for Alice, and the beast takes over for you, Alice. You are in the grips of a terror frenzy. So luckily enough, the door to the lavatories is the closest to you. Your beast knows that is a route of escape, or at least it's supposed to be a route of escape. So you have a couple options here. You can ride the wave, which means that I'll let you play out the frenzy how you feel that would be appropriate for your beast, or if you prefer, I can do it. Or if you would like to spend a point of willpower, you can temporarily regain control of your actions for, we'll say, 2 rounds.
I'm going to spend the willpower.
Okay. Everybody is stunned, though, for a couple of turns as you're, kind of rubbing your eyes and things like that. And it's hard for you to move. So your movement is halved at this point in time. And as you do so, you come out of this stunned state. Everybody except for, no, even in terror frenzy, I'm sorry, you're still stunned, Alice. So the beast trying to get you to move, but you just not being able to see, reaching out for any solid object to gain your bearings as the blinding white light is still burned an image into your eyes. The smell of chemicals assaulting all of your noses, and you hear the muffled sound of footfalls getting closer to you as you come out of this, and you hear them again. I said, put your hands up! Don't move another step! All right, and should I assume that everybody is going to continue to try to run, outside of Alice, of course? Well, no, yep, you're in control,
Yep.
sorry.
Yeah.
All right. I have not gotten any other answers, so the final stretch to the lavatories commences, and I need one more Dex and Athletics roll from everybody.
I don't like that.
God, I would really love to have some non-hungry dice right now. And that's a 0.
All right.
Oh, I don't.
3.
Okay.
1.
And Alice?
2.
2. Okay. And you didn't roll any ones, right, Tony?
No, just all failures.
There's no successes. Okay.
Yeah.
Total failure, not bestial failure.
Yeah.
All right. So, as you all are making that final sprint towards the door that leads to the lavatories, another hail of gunfire comes towards all of you. Anybody that rolled 3 successes or more, you're able to get cover enough to not take any damage. However, for those of you that rolled less than 3, you will take 5 superficial damage from the bullets, which of course, since you're kindred, is going to get halved to 3. So you will all take a total of 3 superficial damage. Tony, however, rolling 0 successes, unluckily so, with the hunger scratching its way up into your throat, you instinctively, as the sound of these bullets start again, the beast knows that these things are close to you, and you turn to look, and almost as if you are, the beast is contemplating going to actually try to feed on one of these guys, and one of the bullets strikes you just right in the face and right into your cheek. So you will take 7. So you will take a total of 4 superficial damage to your health since it's rounded down. And it's about that point where you hear the scream of 2 of these men. Ah! And you all duck into the door as you realize the distraction of what's happened is that you see Mickey has come flying through the air at one of these men and pounced onto the ground with him underneath, as well as the other kindred, De Silva, has from out of nowhere called all of their attention. And you can tell from all of your knowledge of what Kindred can do is that he has used the power of awe to draw their eyes away from you. And he has looked over at you as you're all entering the lavatories and gives you a smile as if he says, as if saying that he's happy to be a martyr for the group of you. And at that point, you all make your way into the lavatories, quickly rushing to the, well, you need to find where you need to go, actually. Because Darius is still nowhere to be found. So, you are currently standing in that the large area where it appears the bag of clothes is still there, with all the doors that have like the bars, the holding cells, the room that you were in with your sarcophagi, shower and bathrooms on one side of the room. So what are you doing?
I'm going to pour out a bag of the clothes and hand it to Alice to put the chalice in.
Alice will put it in there, just in the messenger bag that it's already in. Just shove it in there.
All right, and that's about all you can will yourself to do, Alice. Before, unless you want to spend more willpower, the beast will regain control of your actions.
Nope, I'm not going to spend more willpower.
All right, and so you all witness this as Dr. Banerjee goes over to the pile of clothing and throws it over to Alice. She quickly shoves the messenger bag into the bag of clothes, and then her eyes get really wide as she looks around the room, panicking, looking for a way to escape.
Alice, snap out of it now. This is not the time for that. Reel it in.
And she doesn't respond to you. In fact, she looks at you, Dr. Banerjee, with a crazed look on her face, and then looks to the door of which she had used the shower room for, and quickly darts over towards it, unless anybody tries to stop her. You can hear the sounds of the fight still going on in the warehouse, by the way.
We need to get Alice in check or we're all going to die.
We need to find a way out of here or we're all going to die.
And Banerjee will start surveying the room, looking for somewhere that looks like an exit.
All right. Go ahead and give me a wits plus investigation roll for anybody that is trying to look for the way out. Alice, go ahead and give me the same roll, but at a penalty of 2 dice.
Two successes.
Okay.
I got 1 success.
1.
Six successes.
All right. So as all of you are kind of looking around, Alice frantically, obviously rummaging around in the women's shower room. Y'all are trying to find where this exit could be. Dr. Banerjee, having such a meticulous mind is paying off for you right now. You calmly, take a look around the room for any kind of obscurities, differences from whenever you were in here before, and you notice that the door to the men's shower room is actually open, like somebody hastily. It's ajar. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Somebody didn't properly close it on their way in. As you go over and take a look, you do see that in the floor of the shower area, a section just big enough for a person to fit of the tiles has been removed and shifted to the side, and there's a hole in the ground.
Banerjee's going to say, over this way, I found the exit.
And Lady Catherine will make sure that Alice heard and at least is moving that way, and if not, she'll grab her.
All right. 1 second. What's your current hunger at, Alice?
0.
You definitely, even in your frenzied state, heard the word, you heard Banerjee, and she does, Lady Catherine. She, again, frantically, you're even being torpid for as long as you were, know what it looks like when somebody is under the effects of a terror frenzy. She leaves the ladies' shower room and heads over to the men's, and at this point you kind of regain your senses, Alice, as the beast sees the entrance to this secret tunnel that Darius had mentioned, and you feel a little bit safer, like the end is within sight, although again the fight in the warehouse is still raging. Gunfire, the screams of people yelling, more of the sound of what those god-awful light explosions were going off.
Yeah, even if she's calmer, she's just going to go straight down into the exit, into the tunnel.
All right. And so you all take the ladder, which leads down into a tunnel, very small, cramped, dark, and wet tunnel. There's enough lighting for you to be able to still move throughout it, but you all do kind of have to get in single file straight line and hunch over to be able to move down it.
When we went down, was it optional to make sure it was covered back, the tiles, or were they popped off where they're irreplaceable?
Yeah. So if you would have been making sure that you could do your best to hide the entrance, then you could give me. Let's see, what would be an appropriate roll for that? Just give me a strength plus athletics roll. The tiles are not light, and you have to manually shift them.
So just to be sure for everyone watching, I don't have any hunger dice because I have 0 hunger, but I did roll a 1.
Okay.
And
Yeah. So since there are no hunger dice, it doesn't result in a bestial failure. Did you have any successes?
No.
Okay. So yeah, you are, as everybody has gone down, you realize that the tunnel entrance is just gonna be there, and try to move the tiles over, and you realize that it's heavier than what you can lift. You try to drag it over, but you figure it's gonna take more time than what it's worth, and it your time would be better served hurrying to escape than trying to cover your escape route.
All right.
And so you all travel down this tunnel for quite some way. With the sounds of gunfire, becoming ever more distant. And the sound of the humming of electrical lights, LEDs in the ceiling above being the only thing other than your footfalls and shuffles. So, anybody wanting to do anything in particular as you traverse this tunnel? Anything?
Does Alice's still active sense the unseen clock anything, or is it just a tunnel?
It does appear to be just a tunnel.
Okay.
So, for approximately 50 meters or so, this tunnel goes on, and you all kind of walk along in silence as you're kind of processing what's happening. Tony, the beast, almost demanding to be fed at this point. Some of you pretty fairly injured, and it ends at an opening into the bank of the River Thames. And standing at this opening, quite disheveled, clothing amiss, hair messed up, is Darius. Oh, good God. I'm so happy that you escaped. I apologize for... I am no good in that type of situation, and I couldn't have
So
been...
you thought it wise to leave the Heralds of the Sun to their own demise and be cowardly, knowing that we don't know the layout of this city or anything that's going on?
No, that's what the other two were there for. I don't know what took them so long to delay the I apologize. I would have been no good. I'm no good to you dead either. I'm lucky to have made it out just as you are.
And you just assume that...
So you think it better to risk our lives than your own?
Correct, Alice.
Tony's just kind of glaring at him with one hand pointedly over the hole in his face.
And you can see that upon closer inspection for you all, he did also take some bullets, as there are holes in his clothing. It seems like one of them grazed his temple as well, and there's a graze wound there. He is very clearly upset, and he says, "Why? I don't value my life any more than yours, but you must understand that there's simply the loss of all these items and antiquities that are in this building. We'll never be able to get them back." And he just kind of puts his head in his hand and he shuffles it through his hair a little bit. And he's obviously pretty distraught right now.
I'll say now. First things first. Are we safe here, or do we need to get somewhere safer?
He kind of looks out and looks up at the open sky. Well, there is some time until the sun crests the horizon. I'd say maybe a couple of hours, but of course you will need to find lodging to sleep for the day. I can point you in the right direction. this is far from the warehouse, so they should not be able to find us here.
So you're just going to point us in the right direction and leave us again, or are you actually going to show us where we can go?
Well, the layout of the city has not changed so much since you were awake. Just there are new buildings. I can tell you the parts of the city, but I must retire to my own haven as well. I would not want to be caught in the sun, and it would not be correct for me to accompany you to all of these places. There are certain kindred in the city of London that do not get along with each other, as is to be expected of all.
Since you're going to point us in just a singular direction of where to go for tonight, and maybe where we go to meet Queen Anne, do you happen to have a map of the city that we can look at? That might.
I actually have something better for you, Lady Catherine. And he asks you for your cell phone and shows you all how to open the GPS on your phones. And again, you're all just baffled at the technology here, that in your hand you hold a geographical map of London, the different street names and the businesses and residences that are within the city, all labeled in detail on this map. And he says, yes, of course, if you were to access this application, you can enter in the name of any place that you wish to go, and it will give you step-by-step directions.
Marvelous.
Like I say, the advances of technology have come far.
What about food? Some of us still need to eat.
Oh, yes. Well, it is rather late in the morning, and I would assume that it would be rather difficult to procure some type of individual wandering around the city at this time of night. Well, let me allow you to. I shall give you what I know. And then we should part ways. We don't want to be caught together, and I'm sure you all need to gather yourselves as I do. First of all, there should be a few clusters of hotels, not far from here. One near the city airport. There is also a cluster in a place called the Excel Exhibition Center and Beckton Retail Park. Those three are within an easily 10 to 15 minute walk. You may also call a taxi if you may so wish to travel further somewhere into the city that you yourself are familiar with. As far as feeding goes, if you have the proclivity of breaking and entering, there are residences around. You may have time to sneak into someone's home, or if you are okay with the night taxi drivers or delivery drivers that might bring takeaway, you could to take that route. Then of course there is always, and he actually motions to where somewhere you guys can see one of the bridges that goes across the River Thames, and underneath the bridges are kind of like what you'd see in overpasses, like they go over highways. So there's a place where there's bridge above, but not water below. And he says it is not what I would recommend, is the taste would not be pleasant whatsoever, but you might find the homeless underneath some of the bridges here on the Thames. They would be rather easy targets. Or perhaps you might sneak into one of the rooms of the other guests in the hotels. There are many options.
And before we part ways, the address for Queen Anne and time.
I have
Oh,
the
yes,
card
yes,
with
yes.
the phone number.
Yes, you
Oh,
must
yes.
call the number.
Perfect.
As per the fashion of the court, the location of Elysium changes on a regular basis to keep the safety of it fresh. So the information as to where Queen Anne is hosting this party is not public knowledge, invitation only, of course. And he kind of looks at you, Lady Catherine, in your outfit. You did you tell him your last name again? I completely forgot.
Nope.
Okay. Anyone that would so proclaim themselves as a lady must be of some type of importance. And like I had mentioned before, anyone who's anyone will be at this party. I'm sure that it would be rather easy for you to secure an invitation for yourself and your coterie. Simply reach out to that phone number and you'll find a way. If that is all, very well. With your group's silence, he does a quick kind of acrobatic maneuver as you see that it's not just a simple get out of the tunnel kind of thing, and hops out and is again just vanishes into the night. So just really quick, everybody go ahead and give me a where's that dice pool at? Dex and athletics roll again, please.
One success.
0.
One success.
So it proves rather difficult to get out of this tunnel without getting drenched in the waters of the River Thames, as you all inevitably fall in and have to pull each other out as you climb back up onto the shore. It's very obvious that this escape tunnel was made rather hastily and not efficiently. So, now in addition to being hungry and hurt and forgetful, you're drenched through your clothes with the water from the River Thames.
Remember when I said they couldn't all be imbeciles?
Mm-hmm.
I was apparently wrong.
Yeah. Quite.
Never underestimate people's capacity to be idiots.
Oh.
So, where to next? You've got a couple of hours before sunrise.
Yeah.
Dr. Banerjee is going to look at Tony, and you might want to mend that.
Yes, but I need to eat.
It's going to make it hard to eat with a bullet wound in your face.
Fine, and he'll just kind of focus and mend that, and really hope he succeeds. We're good.
All right. And I believe that you are able to mend 2 points of superficial damage because of your blood
One.
potency. Oh, no, you're on 1. That's right. You are one of the ones with only blood potency 1. All right. So yeah, you focus and very, very apprehensively call upon the power of your blood, and the wound in your face does mend and heal in front of everybody's eyes. And although the beast is still hungry, it does not demand that you. It doesn't overcome you. If you're looking for food, the closest is probably going to be one of the bridges to look for a homeless person. But again, this is really going to be y'all's preference. Like, is this a beggars can't be choosers kind of situation for Tony, or what does he feel like right now?
No, I mean, he's already fed on one person tonight, and it's not usually his style at all. So I think he'd really be holding out for kind of trying to find whatever opportunity there would be to get back blood.
Does anyone have the power to make mortals forget things that might come in useful?
No.
Something I have.
No. I can make them really want to look at me.
This is going to be a problem. Maybe we order takeout. Though I don't know what he meant by takeout.
We know no one to contact to get you what you need.
Maybe we should actually head in to the city. See if we can find something. Did he actually put a location into the box thing?
I think he just showed me how to open the box. And it shows many things. And when you do this, it shows closer things.
Go ahead and roll me an intelligence plus technology, Lady Catherine.
I got 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Darius showed you how to do it. You click on the application that says maps, and it pulls up a small map, and then there's a box on top that says search, and you touch that with your finger, and then it comes up with a tiny typewriter like keyboard, and you just put the name in there, and the box shows you where that location is, and all you have to do is click the button that says start, and it shows you the directions. So he gave you 3 examples: either the airport, the exhibition center, or Beckton Retail Park. Which one do you guys want to go to? You don't know anything about any of those places, for what it's worth.
Did you say retail?
Yeah, Retail Park.
Well, since so late, I don't recommend that option. Well, early.
But he did say that all 3 of those locations would also have hotels. So
So maybe we take our chances with something closest to the airport.
Fine, whatever, let's just keep moving.
all right. And so, dripping wet, damaged, hungry, you start making your way on foot, following the path that the cell phone, as Darius said, leads you. It's relatively simple to follow the step-by-step directions. You just have to take a little bit of time to do it. You find the name of the street. You keep, as you walk, the the location of where you're at apparently updates as you're moving. You have no idea how the hell that works, but it does, and it's accurate because you see the names of the new streets as you come to them. But you make your way over into the city airport area, and of course, there's an airport. But outside of that airport, there's a couple of city blocks that have rather large hotels, bigger than you might have seen before, stretching up into the sky, dozens of stories up in the air. Again, it's fairly early in the morning. A look at the cell phone, which also apparently has a way to tell the time, a clock on it, tells you it's about 4 a.m. So there really aren't that many people out walking. Traffic is very light. But, it seems that there are vehicles in the parking lots for these hotels, so there must be people in them.
Catherine, perhaps if you were to call this number and try to procure us an invitation, that maybe someone on there could help us with the takeout problem.
I had considered this option. I just didn't know if that number was more for non-eating purposes. I would be willing to try for the sake of our friend.
Here's what I'm thinking. If you call and say that you've just recently arrived back in town, and that you want to do the proper thing, you're not familiar with, say, the area and where to obtain meals, takeout and whatnot. I'm assuming that's what he meant by takeout. Perhaps whoever you speak to would be obliged to help us with our problem.
Well, it is worth a try.
And we need to procure an invitation to this party anyways.
Oh, certainly on that.
Yeah, and with your knowledge of how etiquette works in the vampire court, Catherine, you know that any kindred arriving into a new domain is required to introduce themselves to the prince and seek their approval to be within their domain, at least in Camarilla territory. So, yeah. So you're going to make that phone call?
Yes.
Okay. I'll come back to you on that. Meanwhile, Alice, what would you be doing?
He's gonna start taking a look at all the hotels that might be around, just the exteriors, how many cars are in the parking lots or parked on the street, if there's anyone inside, like at a front desk or anything.
Okay. Yeah, you, without really having to make any kind of roll, it seems like these hotels are pretty populated. Could be, most likely because it's near an airport, people not wanting to venture further into the city to take up lodging, using the convenience of having the hotels near the airport. A couple dozen cars in each parking lot, as these are pretty large hotels. You do notice at one of the hotels, which is the closest one to you all, it says on the building itself, ways up, Sheraton, and you can see inside. There's a sliding glass door that you can see somebody manning the front desk that looks horribly bored on what looks like one of these cell phones that Darius gave you. And a man does exit when you know this is a sliding glass door because they open automatically as he approaches them. And he kind of walks a little ways down the sidewalk to a darker area of the where the lighting is not as much, perhaps to get away from the doors, and lights up a cigarette and starts to have a smoke.
Is there anyone around him? Or is it just him?
It looks like it's just him.
Okay. She's going to go back to Tony. Someone just walked out of that hotel. They're alone. Easy to grab. Take what you need.
I already hurt someone tonight. If we can find a way to get something that isn't going to hurt anyone, then I can hold on to that. And he is transparently not really holding it together, but
How
Okay.
hungry are you?
very.
Then why are you being picky?
Because, unlike apparently some people, I have principles.
All right. She'll just leave it at that then.
All right. And yeah, you ring the phone, dial in the phone number the way that Darius showed you how to do it, Lady Catherine, and you hear it ringing like you would expect a phone to ring. After 4 or 5 rings, the other line picks up, and you hear a gentleman's voice. Good evening, Anne's residence. How may I help you?
Hey, hello. I was given this number. My name is Lady Catherine Montague. I was given this number to contact. I'm recently, we're my party and I recently back in town and needed to reacquaint and get some information about how much it's grown.
Very good. You say that your name, ma'am, is Montague,
That is correct.
as in
Yes,
the Capulets and the Montagues.
yes.
There's a moment of silence on the other line. Bear with me one moment, please, ma'am. I am going to place you on a brief hold.
Okay.
And you hear the receiver put down. This is obviously some type of handheld receiver because you hear it. The sound of plastic on wood, and muffled talking on the other line is distant. This takes a couple of minutes. So, Tony, because of the fact that Alice brought this man that's all alone to your attention, you couldn't help but look, right? And that part of you that's like, no, we could hurt them. We don't want to have a mess. There's several problems that could come with that. The beast is just whispering in your ear. It's fresh. Come now, Antonia. Don't make me do this. If you don't, I will. We need something. Anything.
Stop calling me that. I am in control. And he is like audibly talking to himself at this point.
You do hear this, Alice.
Not going to say anything for now. Just listen.
Okay. All right. Very well. Keep pushing it. It won't be much longer. We don't know. I have no idea how you think that you're going to get a hold of your little snack packs in at this time of the morning. The sun's going to come up soon. And if we don't get anything tomorrow night, I'll make sure we eat.
I'm in control. I am in control. I'm in control.
All right. And would you mind please going ahead and rolling me your composure plus resolve?
Yep. Three.
You are in control. It is very difficult to remain in control as the constant noise of your beast is whispering in your ear, but you can't do it again. It's just not right for you to hurt somebody like that. You know that it's pleasurable for them, but you don't want to risk it. You could kill them, and you don't want that blood on your hands. And that's what keeps you in control. So, Lady Catherine, the gentleman comes back on the line. Lady Montague.
Lady Catherine, please.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize for the long wait. I simply had to confirm some things. You say you and your party, yes?
Yes.
How many of you are there?
There are 4 of us.
And you say that you've just come back to town.
Well, yes. Knowing with, again, my etiquette, I would know that we would need to speak to the prince again, correct? Since there's been such a long period.
Go ahead and make a roll for me. Wits plus etiquette.
One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7 with a critical.
Yeah, so you know exactly who you would need to talk to in this situation. So if the prince themselves were to not be available for whatever reason, you would at least need to speak to somebody that would hold power in their stead. For instance, if there were a seneschal, or at the very least, your respective clans' primogen, to make your presence known and gain permission to remain within the city. Because if you were to be found within the city without announcing yourself, then there would be very negative repercussions of that.
Yeah, so well, yes, we've just come back in the town and we need to make ourselves known and greet the prince if it's still the same prince. If not, you know how it goes. Need that contact information.
Yes. Very good. I don't expect that we will be able to accommodate that this night. However, if we can do so tomorrow night, if that would please you.
She'll look around at the hotels and say, I think we can make that work. I do have one other question for you that I do need done tonight, if that would be possible. Looking for, how do you say this without saying this?
Takeout.
Takeout, yes. Thank you. For one of my friends here.
Yes, of course. Perhaps we can make arrangements. Where would you like this sent? You can tell he is struggling to tell you all the things that he's telling you as if he doesn't want to tell them to you, but like he's being made to tell them to you.
I'll look around the streets and I'll tell him the cross streets where we are. And if we're not on a cross street, go to a cross street.
To be clear, ma'am, you would like to simply... Do you have lodgings for the night?
I think at this point, Dr. Banerjee looks at Lady Catherine and kind of points to the hotel.
Yeah, I think we've got that covered. I'm pretty sure. It's more we just need to take care of getting arrangements set up for our meeting and getting arrangements set up for tonight for our friend, our member.
Very, very well. I'm familiar with the area, ma'am. Would you like to... Which hotel would you like this delivery to? And of course, you must understand that this service does not come without a cost. You will need to repay the individual who would be calling in the favor to expedite this delivery to get to you before sunrise.
I understand.
Very good.
And I'll say the name of whichever one Dr. Banerjee just pointed to.
He pointed to the Sheraton, the same one that the man is standing outside smoking.
Okay, perfect. And the Sheraton. Yes, that one.
Right. It will be there within the hour, ma'am. And of course, I will pass your message on to the proper authorities that you seek an appointment.
Perfect. And just one final get-go. Just for more of my personal interest, I heard there's going to be a party, a get-together. Did I hear incorrectly?
Perhaps you may have heard this, ma'am, but I cannot confirm nor deny the details.
Oh, marvelous. Perfect. Thank you.
If that is all.
Yes, I will be at that hotel, patiently waiting for information back.
Good night, ma'am.
Thank you.
And the line ends.
He called me ma'am instead of Lady Catherine. How dare he?
It also seemed like you were pulling teeth.
Yeah, he must not have heard of us before.
You do get the impression that he may not have known exactly who he was talking to.
That's what I said. Must not have heard of us before.
Yep.
I did think of one other thing, but I don't know if...
Oh, no.
If we...
Back?
No. I was just thinking, if we run into the situation again, I mean, we're already bound to each other. We could have just let Tony feed from a couple of us.
But would that go against his principles? We don't know that.
All of you feel very strangely about that. Even whenever you say it, Dr. Banerjee, like, technically, yes, but like, That is a very, very frowned upon practice.
I'm not suggesting it become a common thing. Just in dire situations, and doesn't make any easy about it, but
for tonight, they said within the hours, so no need to stress that any longer than they have to. Yeah.
well, we should probably go get lodging.
Oh, yes.
All right. So you gave this guy the Sheraton, so you head over to, keep in mind that you're all, your clothes are still wet, right?
Yeah.
Bullet holes in some of you, well, at least in your clothes, maybe. So how do you want to go about this? Alice could tell you that there's somebody that's at the front desk that you probably need to talk to. Maybe they're the keeper of the hotel. Who knows?
Does Catherine have bullet holes?
Who has not taken damage? I think you're the only one, Doctor.
So I'm going to look and see if there's a fountain anywhere near.
There is not. Unfortunately.
Can you look on your cell phone and see where the nearest fountain is from here?
Can I do that? I'll pull up the maps and kind of give him a strange look, but try and look for a fountain.
There's one a few blocks away. It's a public fountain. Just like it's in the middle of a traffic circle. I realize that your characters have no idea what a traffic circle is. It's a
circle.
Yeah, there are 4 roads that lead into it, and it's a circle with a fountain in the middle of it.
So on the screen, it would just look like a circle with a fountain? Okay.
Yep.
Yep. I would show Dr. Banerjee, and what are you looking for a fountain for?
Well, we need a way for me to explain how we're wet, and you need to kind of stand at a distance so that no one sees the bullet holes in your clothing, or Tony's clothing, or Alice's clothing. I'm going to use the excuse that we had a bit to drink and don't remember where we parked our automobile, and we were taking a picture at the fountain and fell in. And we just need somewhere to hang our clothes and sleep for the night. Tony, I'm going to need the money.
Of course. And just pull out the wad and hand it over.
It's also soaking wet, so that will help with your story, Doctor.
Yeah. And he will make sure that they stand a good distance away from the desk, and he will walk up to the desk.
All right, so are all 4 of you going into the hotel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, Doctor, you approach the front desk, and what you see is a young woman, maybe in her early 20s, who was doing something on one of these cell phones. You don't know. The screen was rapidly changing. Perhaps it was like the TVs that you saw, some kind of video or something like that. Welcome to the Sheraton. Hi, my name is Mandy. What can I do for you tonight? Are you okay? Did you take a fall into the Thames or something?
Funny you should ask. As you can tell, I'm from out of town. Me and my friends are visiting, and we're out doing a bit of pub crawling and had a bit to drink and can't remember where we left our car. And we were over by the circular road with the fountain, and we were trying to get a picture because we thought it was beautiful. And my brother-in-law, he fell in the water, and when I went to help him out, of course, he pulled me in, and then his my sister, or his wife, I'm sorry, we're stepbrothers. She tried to help us out, and then her friend tried to help us out, and we all ended up in the fountain.
She's just kind of looking at you with one of her eyebrows cocked as you're explaining this, and just nods. Right. All right, then. Okay. Yes, I suppose that would make sense if you had too much to drink at the pub. What do you need? Do you need a room?
And he's gonna look over and do like one or two.
Choose have it.
Yes, 2 rooms, please.
She does not notice the fact that the other 3 of you have bullet holes in your clothes. Right. We 2 rooms for tonight. Let me check my system. And she typing on one of these, small typewriters that you saw, but there's another smaller screen that looks like another TV that she's putting information into. So do these rooms need to be adjacent? Do you care?
Yes, please, if you have, but not really if you don't.
And she types some more things in. All right. It looks like up on the 6th floor, I've got rooms 617 and 619. They are direct. They are to the left and the right of each other, adjacent as you wished. 2 queen beds in each. Will that suffice?
Yes, and let's make it 2 nights.
Right. Okay. That we can make that work. These rooms don't have any pending reservations. That would be 2 nights, 4 beds, 2 rooms. Would you require housekeeping?
No. We're probably going to sleep this off for at least a day.
Yes, of course. I've had my own bender from time to time, so I understand. That would be $89 per night per room, plus taxes and fees applied, would mean your grand total would come out to, and she types some more things into the computer. Hold on, I'm doing the actual mental math. 248 pounds. So.
And he kind of he pulls the money out, but not so that she can see a big wad of cash, and he counts it out. I'm going to apologize. My wallet got wet as well.
Yes, of course. No need to worry. All right. And you give her £250, and she opens up a register and hands you Emma, do British pounds come in single dollars, or use shillings for that?
Single pounds, yeah, come in single coins.
Okay, so I have no idea about world currency. So she hands you 2 single, £1 notes that are significantly drier than the rest of the money. And you pocket it, and she grabs 2 what look like electronic key cards, or they look like cards, kind of like the business card that you got, and she puts them down into a machine that clicks and beeps, and then hands them to you after writing the number of each room on them. Here you go. These will get you into your rooms. If you don't want room service or housekeeping, there's a placard on the door any inside, just put it on the handle on the outside in the morning, and you'll be good to go.
Thank you. And he clearly has no idea what these keys are for, or these cards are for. He's just going to pretend like he does. And where are the stairs to get up to the 6th floor?
Oh, you can, and she points. You're more than welcome to take the stair. There's also the lift right there. The lift will take you up as well if you prefer that.
Oh, that would be much appreciated. Well, thank you, Mandy, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
Yeah, you too, mate.
And he will motion for the others to follow him over to the lift.
Okay. What name do you give, by the way?
Dr. Henry.
Okay. And yeah, so you guys aren't really familiar with an elevator, but it's 2 buttons. So like it's only 1 button when you're in the lobby. So you just have to press the up arrow, assuming that you're going up. After some time, the dings opens up and there's buttons, and you press 6, assuming that's going to take you to the 6th floor, and it does. You go into your rooms, and after a couple of attempts, you figure out you have to take the key card and slide it into an opening in the door handle, wait for it to beep and the light to turn green, and then quickly engage that handle to open the door. If you don't do it in that order or in a rapid succession, it doesn't open for you, and it's rather frustrating. But you get it open, and these 2 are adjoined rooms, so like a hotel where you would have 2 rooms side by side with 2 queens, but there's a door that links the 2 rooms as well, so you can move in between.
Oh, it'd have been really funny if I hadn't got adjoining rooms, because Benergy would have taken a key for himself and let the other 3 have a room. So, ladies over here, and you and I over here, I guess. Tony?
Yeah.
Don't forget, we're still waiting on our takeout. So we need to keep ears open for that.
You realize that you did not mention at all to the front desk person that you were expecting a delivery.
You all go in the rooms. I'll go back down and talk to Mandy.
Yeah, you can either do that, or you do notice that there's a telephone, an actual telephone for the first time that you've seen. It's not a rotary phone. It's got number buttons, but it's a telephone sitting on the desk beside one of the beds. And there's like a directory on there, and it says press 0 for front desk if you don't want to walk down there.
And I can see Benergy trying to take the numbers and turn them like a rotary phone at first, realizing it's not working, and then he realizes he has to push a button, and he will push 0 to try to get the front desk.
Yeah, and it rings, only 1 ring, and it gets picked up. Front desk, this is Mandy.
Hi, Mandy. It's Dr. Henry. I forgot to mention, we ordered takeout, and it's going to be delivered. Could you send it to room, and I'll tell her whatever room I'm in.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Whenever they get here, I'll direct them to the correct room, Dr. Henry.
Oh.
Anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Oh, and would you like a wake-up call in the morning?
No, like I said, we've had a bit to drink, so we'll probably sleep this off most of the day.
All right. Again, have a good night, and I'll direct them to your room.
Thank you.
All right. What is the coterie doing?
Alice is
Go ahead.
I'm gonna heal some of that superficial damage Alice got.
Okay. Go ahead and make a rouse check.
Failure. So just.
You do increase to hunger 1. that itch in the back of your mind that comes back and reminds you that you need to eat. Although it's rather quiet, you do mend 2 points of superficial damage.
Lady Catherine will do the same. Am I able to do it twice?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm just going to roll both at once. 1 success, 1 failure.
And again, the same for you. You, the feeling of being full is very short-lived, as you do heal 4 of your superficial damage to your health. All right. You do all realize that there is no readily available change of clothing for any of you. There is, again, lavatory here. Each room has a bath, shower. Oh, no bath. I'm sorry. A standing shower with no bathtub. Standard hotel room that you would expect to have. A large television, a desk with a lamp. Though thankfully enough, the windows do have blackout curtains, and like a floor unit for air conditioning. And you are all getting tired. You know that sunrise is approaching because the day sleep is coming upon you.
So Dr. Banerjee is going to go into the bathroom and grab a towel and toss one to Tony, and take one, and he's going to close the bathroom door and take off his wet clothes, dry off, and hang his clothes across the shower so that they sit up to dry.
And what about you, Tony?
And honestly, when you throw it, Tony's not even going to catch it. Just towel hits him as he's just kind of sat there, gritting his teeth, focusing, staying under control, sitting there dripping on the bed.
All right. Give me 1 second here. All right. And so a little bit of time goes by, about half an hour. And ladies, what are you doing in this time?
So probably Catherine would have gone and grabbed a towel and asked Alice if she would like one, and asked if she needed the bathroom because she was going to be taking a hot shower to clean the filthy water off of her.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. All of you realize that you smell rather not appealing. The water in the River Thames is not the cleanest.
Oh, which is why she asked me if I fell in the River Thames. Oh, well.
Yeah. He was just being polite about it, okay?
Her, oh. Mm-hmm.
The fountain, right.
It's a river. It looked like a fountain because I was drunk.
All right. What about Alice? What is Alice up to while Lady Catherine is in the shower?
Yeah, she's going to take the towel and just dry off as best she can. And she's going to go knock on the door that adjoins the rooms.
To the men's room?
Yes.
Who answers the door?
I would imagine Tony because I'm still in the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, like a moment after you knock, kind of still, just kind of get himself together and go and answer.
Hi, could I just get the bag that the doctor had?
Yeah, of course, come in.
She's going to go in and she's going to look for the bag.
Yeah, it's probably just laying there on like the desk.
Yeah. And again, sopping wet, just like everything else was. You shuffling through it to get the goblet out?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Doesn't seem to be damaged.
Just gonna lift the goblet. Thanks, Tony, and then go back to the room.
Welcome.
It's about this point in time where the knock comes to the door, Tony. Dr. Banerjee, you're just getting out of the shower, out of the bathroom as this happens.
And again, much like at the when we first woke up, Banerjee just comes out butt ass naked.
Do you answer the door?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just give him this look like, really? And go and answer it.
Yeah, and there's a kind of sketchy looking dude at the door wearing like a jumper and a pair of like khaki shorts and a pair of flip-flops with a ball cap on turned backwards.
Or Dash.
Looking for a Lady Montague.
Yeah. Yeah, you're here for me. She just put the call in.
You okay there, mate? You look fucking rough.
Charmed, thanks.
Oh, not my fucking business then, I guess. Here you go. This is shit right here. Again, with regards, as well, supposedly Lady Catherine was told, don't forget it ain't free, mate.
Yes. What do I owe you?
Nah, not me. There's a note inside. I'm just the messenger.
Cool. Are we done?
Yeah.
And just like the moment he says that, I'm closing the door and going into the bag.
Yeah. And so what you have is like a small bag with what looks like ice packs in it, and there are 2 blood bags on there labeled A.
Yeah, and just immediately, not even going back to sit down or anything, just tearing into them and drinking them both.
All right, please give me a hunger frenzy check for the taste of blood at Hunger 4.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Can't
Again,
wait till I find out about.
unspent willpower plus 30 your humanity rounded down.
Can't wait till I find out about Capri Suns, because that's what I'm gonna call Tony's food.
That's 3.
Yep, that's what you need to succeed. So, luckily enough, you are still in control of yourself. But as soon as you uncap the top of the blood bag and the smell hits your nose, it's just you are tearing into it and just drain the first one. And once you've kind of gotten a grip of yourself, you go a little bit more slowly on the second one. You can reduce your hunger by 2. Not very dignified of you, but gotta do what you gotta do.
It's must.
All right, and so there is in fact a note on the inside, a little handwritten note that says "You owe me," and is initialed RB. All right. And with that being said, the sun quickly approaching the horizon, we will end our session for the night with the coterie refreshing themselves after a tumble into the river Thames, and several options as to the route that they can take to obtain these holy relics of Mithras in front of them. Will they decide to attend Queen Anne's party first? will they further investigate any of the kindred they are named, the Nosferatu or the Tremere, or perhaps this Gwenllian, Furch, Arwen? Who knows? But
I would like to say that I do put the do not disturb sign on the door before we go to sleep.
I figured.
Yeah.
So we would all like to thank you for joining us tonight for our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Fall of London. We hope that you enjoyed. And I would take just a quick moment to let everybody promote themselves as we wrap up here. So first and foremost, my name again is Brandon Boren. I am known as the DMB or DMB Gaming on my social media platforms. So you will find me at the DMB with 2 underscores after on Twitter, DMB Gaming with 2 underscores on Twitch, where I will soon have a regular stream schedule up for PC games, and a regular Thursday night Pathfinder RPG first edition game, if you prefer that to the more story-based horror type of thing as Vampire the Masquerade. Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and where people can find you?
Hello, everybody. I'm Jeremy, better known as Darth and Trey on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. You can find me tomorrow night over on So Many Games, where I will be playing my human rogue in Duval and Dragons. You can also find me on So Many Games Tuesday, where I will be playing in Call of Cthulhu, where I play a used bookseller who's trying to save his store and has been offered $1 million to steal a book from Miskatonic University. So come watch me go mad. And then you can also, not this upcoming week, but the following week, we start back up with London's Not Dead, set in 2021 after the fall of London, where my players play Anarchs, and that's at 3 p.m. Eastern time on this very channel.
And Allie?
Hi, obviously I'm Allie. I really don't game a lot or have a lot of social media. If you do want to find me anywhere, I go by Allie Loves You, YEW. Mostly my social media is just me, my makeup. It's starting to become a little bit more of gaming and especially D&D, Vampire the Masquerade. And I will be joining the DMB, our storyteller here, on some co-ops. So definitely check out his stuff.
If you guys like games like Stardew Valley and things like that, then be sure to check us out. We'll be doing some co-op Let's Plays of those. Alice? Or I should say Paige.
I'm Paige, and you can find me on my social medias at Twisted Werewolf, TWISTED WEREWULF.
And last but not least, Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma, better known as Saracent on various socials. That's SERASENT. You can find me on Twitch. I'm doing gaming streams Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at British afternoon time, morning for most of my viewers. Currently playing through the Mass Effect trilogy. It's a whole thing. And yeah, or find me on Twitter at Waruce, WARUCE. Where I say nothing of value.
All right. And again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight for our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle. You can find us here regularly on Saturdays starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, every Saturday. And we will be delighted to see you again. But until next time, denizens of the night, enjoy the rest of your evening. And remember, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good night, everyone.